Is that the expectation?
We haven't practiced yet, so I told you all on Monday that we'll just take it day to day and be smart with the process. I haven't personally seen him run. I haven't seen him catch any balls yet, so we'll just be mindful that we're doing the right thing by him and for the team and take it day to day.
Is it safe to say, Zach, with a player like Jamar or anybody for that matter, there's being healthy and then there's being healthy enough to play in an NFL game?
Yeah, and he's done all the things we've asked him to do. He's done a great job with the trainers in there, and so everything has been positive up to this point. But again, we've got to take it day to day through these practices.
With a situation like Jamar, there's always a silver lining in that other guys step up and show they can play.
Mm-hmm.
So now you know what you're going to get out of your depth. I mean, is that a positive as you got to go through the second half of this?
It sure is. The more guys, as it works out, that you can get into the games in the early part of the season, it helps you down the stretch. That's obviously been the case, at receiver. That's the case at a couple of different positions as well, and that's paid off for us.
You have a young guy like Jamar who's probably chomping at the bit to get back. How do you balance that with protecting him from himself almost?
Yeah, just having dialogue with him every day and making sure we're all on the same page, seeing it the same way, and as long as there's that constant communication, then we'll be in a good spot.
Coach, how will Thanksgiving be celebrated at your house, and what's one thing you're really thankful for?
How will it be celebrated? First of all, quietly, with my family, and I've got. I was going to say I got my weekends off, but I think it's just my family this weekend, my immediate family. My mom just left, and my dad and my grandmother are coming next weekend. But it's just thankful for family. I think it's just my wife as coach's wife and my kids, understanding this job and enjoying it as much as we can has allowed me to be very thankful for that.
Like it happened last year, how important is the depth and the versatility and the physicality of the defense against a team like Tennessee?
They've got a play style that's very physical. They take a lot of pride in that. You can see it on tape. And so, again, it's a tall task for our defense this week. I know they're up for the challenge, and it'll be a great battle.
I know one of the keys last year that helped you guys against the Titans was having linebackers like Jermaine and Logan and even the guys behind them. They seem really comfortable together just from talking to them. And so having that versatility, how much does that play to your advantage against the Titans this Sunday?
We've got a great linebacking core, and really from top to bottom with our starters down to our last depth guy. And I think James Betcher does a great job with that unit. Those guys all respond when their number's called. Clay Johnson had a great play last year against Tennessee in one of his limited plays in that game. So that just goes to show you the depth in that room. And so, again, it's a group that's playing at a high level, and, we expect good things from them on Sunday as well.
How much better do they make each other, like Jermaine and Logan?
I think that they play really well together. They have great chemistry. And so, again, just the football conversations, there's a high football IQ in that room. They see things very fast. They've just got experience now, being there. For Jermaine, his fourth year, and Logan for his third year. They've just seen a lot. They've experienced a lot together, and so there's a lot of verbal and nonverbal communication that can take place in there.
Is Tennessee Titan defense a good example of players fitting scheme and scheme fitting players? I mean, it's almost like they both, like 1 + 1 = 3, based on what they do synergistically with players and scheme. Yeah,
they have a great defense. I think they really haven't given up more than 17 points in regulation dating back to that Bills game in week 2. So they're playing at a high level. They're playing really good team football right now with their special teams and their field position and how their offense plays and how their defense plays, making teams go the length of the field. They're scoring in the red zone, and they're just keeping points off the board with their defense. And so it's a great unit. I think Kansas City's the only team really that got above 17, and that was in overtime. So we've certainly got a challenge on our hands. We know that, and our guys are excited for it.
It's a great test for how good this offense really is. I mean, metrically, I think they're one of the best, if not the best in the league the last 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, how good of a test is this going to be for you guys to see where you're really at?
I don't look at it that way. I just look at it, we got to do what we can to find a way to win. On the road against a really good opponent that we've got a lot of respect for. And it's not so much what's the test, how do we measure ourselves. It's just how can we score enough points to win the game against Tennessee, because, again, it's a tremendous football team.
Using your running backs in the passing game as much as you have, was that something you expected heading into the season, and how important is it this year?
I think we've always done that, and it's not. I know it's a little bit up this year, and that's part of, Burrow really doing a great job of making defenses pay when they want to sink and play a little bit deeper. He's just going to be maybe even a tick quicker than he was in the past. I thought last year he was good at it. This year maybe even a little quicker sometimes, making sure we can maximize that yardage. But at the same token, when they want to play tight and take that away, he's going to push the ball over their heads a little bit. And so when your quarterback's operating like that, it can be very dangerous. And he's done a great job maximizing what Joe and Samaje can bring to the table there in the receiving game.
He obviously had a great game against you guys last year in the playoffs, but Jeffrey Simmons, what makes him a unique player, kind of like along the lines of Aaron Donald?
Yeah, he's outstanding. He impacts everything. The point of attack in the run game, he affects the passer in the pass game. He's got all the traits that you'd want to see in a great defensive tackle, and he's had a tremendous career there so far. He's a player that we've got a lot of respect for, and he's one of the best to do it.
How's Joe Mixon going?
Still going through the protocol.
Is Simmons the best DT y'all will face throughout the regular season?
I can't predict that. He's a great player. It's hard to compare him to other players, but we're focused on this week playing the Titans. He's a part of them, and so he's got our attention.
What kind of test is this for your defensive line in terms of stopping Derrick Henry before he gets rolling? Because once he gets a full head of steam, he's obviously pretty tough to get down.
We've played a lot of similar styles of offense, I think, so far this year. Our defense is always up for that challenge. Derrick Henry, again, he's a premier player in this league, MVP caliber player. And we know last year when we got him, he was coming off of an injury. And so that'll be a little bit different than what we see from him this week. That was his first game back after several weeks off. And he's playing at a really high level this week. And so our guys got to be locked in. And but again, that's part of their offense is they can lean heavy on the run, but then they've got a tremendous quarterback who makes really good decisions in the play action and naked game off of that. They've got an awesome screen package, play action screen package that capitalized. That's what he got his biggest play of the week on last week against Green Bay, was off of play action screen there. And then they've got the weapons on top. Robert Woods and Traylon Burks, the rookie, had a great game last week. And so again, that's kind of how they've always operated. They've got Derrick Henry and they've got a great rushing attack, but that really opens up the things off of it to get the explosives and the nakeds and the play actions and the play action screens. And we've always studied a lot of things that they've done, even when we're not playing them, because of the respect that we have for how they utilize their scheme.
Do you feel like in the last month or so, your offensive line is playing at an extremely high level? I mean, your numbers dictated. The numbers say putting up significant yards and points, and goes hand in hand with how well they're playing, isn't it?
I've been saying that longer than a month now.
Yeah.
It's again, as I watch the tape every day and watch every practice and every game, I think our offensive line has come along exactly as we had hoped. And it doesn't matter what's gone on in the past now, but right now there's great chemistry in the room, great awareness as a group, and again, I think Frank and Derek are doing a great job with those guys, and really proud of where that group's at right now.
What do you think Kappa has brought to the line?
Well, on his own, he's a really good player. That's really filled that void nicely for us at right guard. But on top of that, he's just as a piece of that five guys, he helps elevate everybody else. Just as LC helps elevate him, just as Ted helps elevate those guys around him. I think just those five particular guys as a whole is really a tremendous combination. And Alex has got such great experience, especially playing in the NFC South. He's seen a lot of these teams that we've played so far this year, 3 of them. He's played a lot against these guys. He's always got great feedback. Appreciate the dialogue with him. Appreciate his approach. These guys just love football. They love walkthroughs. They love the meetings. I share a wall with Frank, so I get to hear it all. They're having a great time in there, and they're getting after each other. And just as an O-line room should be, they love bad weather. They take great pride in that, which I love. And so it's just fun being around those guys and seeing their energy that they bring every day. And Alex is a big part of that.
Is that part of what you wanted to build when you became a head coach and kind of being around some place you've been, and that guys should want to build a place that where guys enjoy being around each other, just being at the facility, doing
Correct.
mundane things?
Yep. It's too long of a season, and for us, it's not just a 17-week season. Your expectation is that you're playing for months beyond that, and if guys don't love the process, then it's going to be very difficult to get through the difficult time that comes, in the later part of the stretch of the season when you need guys to be at your best and play through some nicks and bruises and just mentally be in the right spot, and so that they're consistent with the routine. It's easy to be consistent at the early part of the season when weather's warm and you're healthy, and then as it gets later in the season, you need guys that just love the process, and the O-line room is a great example of having the right group of guys there.
Ted Karras has said that Alex Kappa's got a high football acumen.
Yeah.
He leans on him,
Yeah.
For some things, and Ted obviously is pretty men's himself in that regard. So having those two guys next to each other, recognizing, communicating, that's got to be a big deal, isn't it?
Right, and that's kind of what I mean when I say they make each other better. Ted makes Alex better, and Alex makes Ted better. And I know that might seem weird to say, but I think that they just keep pushing each other, and their conversations spur on great thoughts. And I love hearing the interaction between that group.
You targeted those guys at the start of free agency. How much was that 9-sack game against the Titans in your mind and kind of leading that?
I just think, overall we needed to improve. And so going and getting those veterans that had been there, done that, while we can also continue to develop some young guys that we had in the room, has worked out as well as we could have hoped, but certainly Alex and Ted were two guys that we tried to research as best we could to see how they fit. Steve Rudicevich did a great job targeting those guys and having an understanding of how they'd fit for us. And Steve and Duke do a great job of identifying the names to help get us started so that we can do our own research as well. And so it's really worked out nicely for us.
How good do you think you guys have been this year at gang tackling? I know Sam Hubbard was telling us that it's an expectation now. It's not, once in every other game. It's
No.
an expectation.
Yeah, I mean they take a lot of pride in that, and so that's something that we work as a team. They work individually as a defense, going through their tackling circuit as well. And again, they take great pride in rallying to the ball and getting the ball carrier down and not missing tackles and being on the scene as quickly as possible. So I think that's what great defenses do, and I think we have a great defense.
Last year's playoff game, 9 quarterback sacks, but threw for well over 300 yards. I mean, that's an interesting dichotomy there. Have you ever been part of a game that you can recall that was like that, otherwise?
I did an interview with Desi Dvorak the other day, and I got sacked 9 times against Oklahoma. He was quick to bring that up. We almost won the game. I don't know what our statistical production was, but he pointed out that they sacked me 9 times. So I guess I've been a part of a 9-sack game before, unfortunately. But again, that game just really shows the resiliency of our group. That when you play against really good teams, difficult things are going to happen to you. And it's just how you respond to the next play. And so I think specifically as an offense in that last time we played against them, you got a chance to see the resiliency of the group and just how they respond to a negative play. And that doesn't define the drive, that doesn't define the game. It's about how you respond to the next play. And I think our team has always done a really good job of not letting a bad play get you down, whether it was offense, defense, whatever it is. That response has been critical for us.
What do you remember about the headset going down and Burrow calling plays for a couple minutes?
It takes you it takes you a play to realize what's happening, because you've got a routine of calling the play and expecting that play to be run. And then when a new play breaks the huddle and you can see they're not the right, you're about to start yelling at a receiver typically about lining up wrong, and then you realize everybody's wrong. And then you realize that's not the play I called whatsoever once the ball snapped. But it's good that your quarterback has the confidence to do that, because not everybody wants that pressure of having to do that. So would I have dialed that up for him to be in that spot in the playoff game for the first time? Probably not, but he handled it really well, very calmly, got everybody on the same page, even called the play, and then got out of the play, changed the protection. So he not only kind of went through you call a play, then the quarterback said he called a play, and then he had to check the protection as well, and which is pretty cool to see, and obviously got us moving down there. It was a 2-minute situation, I think, and then the 2-minute warning hit, and that's when we were able to try to get things fixed. But he's just that's good for him to see. And again, we're always open as his career evolves to things like that. Being more programmed for him. He knows that he's allowed to check to any concept whenever he wants. And again, it's just all about getting everyone on the same page. As long as he's got the confidence in what he's calling, and he gets everybody on the same page, usually good things are going to happen for us.
With Jamar's return, is it different with this injury? Like you said, you need to see him run. You want to see him on the grass. Do you need to see him do that on like a rehab field, not in the practice setting, or how do you do that with a player like that with kind of a delicate injury? Yeah, well, I think first of all, it doesn't have to be an 11-on-11 for receiver. Okay, we get as much work oftentimes in routes on air and group install as we do going against the scout team defense. Sometimes that's just more for the responsibilities and seeing the shell, the coverage, and things like that. But you get really good work. That's probably I can't speak for Joe, but I'd be willing to bet that he would tell you he gets as good a work as anything just on routes on air and group install and the timing and stuff like that. So again, we'll just take it day to day. I can't define what it's going to have to look like for him to play on Sunday. That's just daily conversations with the trainers, with him, and getting a sense for what's going to be best for him and the team on Sunday.
Last year when Drew Chrisman was a rookie, you had to move him on and off the practice squad quite a few times for roster maneuvering. Got picked up briefly by the Steelers. Was there a fear every time you took him off the practice squad that you were going to lose this guy?
I think so. And it's he had workouts that we were always tracking, to see where he ended up. And again, when you've got good players that you think have potential, you want to keep them around. And it might not always fit on the 53-man roster. It might be on the practice squad, but Drew's one of many guys that over the years we've come to have a healthy respect for and think that they can be a part of it now or in the future. And you want to do your best to hang on to that talent as best you can. It doesn't always work out, but fortunately in Drew's case, it's worked out to where he's still with us.
With respect to Jamar's injury, is it more of making sure that he can do all the range of motion things and all that, or is it worried about contact on that thing, or both?
Not so much the contact portion of it right now. It's just again him being on the ground, running, going through the things you'd go through, whether it be on a rehab field or on a practice field, getting ready for Sunday. Again, I can't define exactly what we need it to look like. We'll just take it day to day and have all those conversations and then make the best decision for all of us.
You guys have labeled this kind of a playoff stretch or playoff type games. Have you changed how you approach the team at all with, like you mentioned, all the veteran leadership you have, from last year and having gone through it? Mm-hmm. Did you take any lessons from that for your style with kind of motivating guys or talking to the team?
No, but that's because of how I feel just about our locker room. I don't think you have to overstate anything. I don't think you have to overreact to any week. Again, every week at this point does become critical, but it's important not to overreact one way or another. It's just like last year we won 2 games coming out of the bye, and then we lost 2 games out of the bye. And I'm sure people were ready to overreact to that. And there's still opportunity there. And so again, we just want our focus to be on this Sunday, playing our best football, giving ourselves the best chance to come away with a win, and then we worry about what's next.
No, but I'm saying for preparing for a big game like this, have you found yourself saying less and leaving it more up to the players?
No.
Doing your style, you personally, kind of how you...
No, I like to think I don't overspeak. When I'm in those environments, maybe the players would tell you different. Maybe they'd tell you I need to shut up and talk even less. But I try to do my best to not be long-winded to begin with over the course of the season. I haven't changed anything about how I approach anything in team meetings or conversations I have with players. I've just kept my same routine, and I think that's what's best for all of us, is that everything's the same as it has been since September. Obviously, we modify how we practice as the season goes. We shave reps, all that kind of stuff. But no, we've tried to keep our routine as much as what we've always been comfortable with.